we got some things to talk about. And I want to do about 10 minutes on each topic. So follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Like, share, subscribe, and I appreciate you guys. Those of you that are, potentially not even here, but still understanding the Ben Garcia Show, rain or shine, will continue to go on. So let's start here. The Phoenix Suns season has come to a close. And let's just call it what it is, guys. I am ecstatic that this is over. This was, in the words of Devin Booker last night, just a slow bleed out. A very painful, anxiety-driven Suns season. There was legitimately nothing fun about this. Outside of the first week, when let's just be honest with ourselves. Like Devin Booker said last night, we all got a bit ahead of ourselves. And when you go back and examine that 8-1 start, there were glaring signs everywhere about this team that the wheels could come off, and once they did, they could come off very quickly. But the narrative surrounding the Phoenix Suns, I can't lie to you guys, it's got me frustrated. It's one of the reasons why I decided to, even though I missed the show this morning, just come on here for 20, 30 minutes and take some time to talk about what in the world is happening with the Phoenix Suns and the discourse that has happened over the last 16 hours or so since the Phoenix Suns season has come to a close. We need to assess blame. Who takes the biggest piece of blame pie for this Suns season collapsing on its head? Is it really the front office? Is it Kevin Durant? Is it Devin Booker? Is it Bradley Beal? Let's discuss it. The Phoenix Suns season comes to a close last night. And immediately the finger pointing has begun, and it should have happened 3, 4, 5 months ago because of how quickly this has fallen apart. And before I talk about someone who deserves a lot more blame and who I would lead off the show right now talking about how much blame he deserves for the Suns season going awry, I'll cut him a little bit of slack since he did go up to the podium last night and take some blame. But before we talk about Devin Booker, let's talk about Mike Budenholzer. Let's talk about Bradley Beal. Let's talk about the front office. Mike Budenholzer is a dead man walking. If you had asked me a couple of months ago, do you think Mike Budenholzer should lose his job? I was emphatically saying no. I was the person advocating that Mike Budenholzer needs to keep his job. But the thing about opinions is with new information, opinions change. And that's the one thing that fans, discourse, people listening to all things sports related, opinions change. New information, I'm not going to sit here and sit on the same opinion that I had. And Mike Budenholzer has done nothing to keep his job. In fact, I would argue he has went the complete opposite. He has done things to speed up the process of him being fired. He's supposed to be this hometown head coach. That discussion has died. I bet you forgot that Mike Budenholzer is the hometown head coach. He's fighting with players. According to reports, Gambo's putting it out there that people don't like Mike Budenholzer. He's a pain to deal with. So Budenholzer, dead man walking. And if there's one thing true about this Suns front office and the coaching staff, is that no stone should be unturned. This season was such a disaster that every head needs to roll. Everyone needs to lose their job. Josh Barlstein, James Jones, Mike Budenholzer, everyone that had even a finger on this Suns season needs to pay the price. In trouble by association of just being around this team. It has gone so far awry that you need to send a message that what happened this year was not okay, and that being in Matt Ishbia. And what I'm tired of doing is trying to find reasons to keep these guys around. After hearing Devin Booker's comments last night, which don't worry, we're going to talk about Devin Booker in just a second here. No stone needs to go unturned. Everyone needs to lose their job in the front office and in the coaching staff. And then people, what about James Jones? What about him? I have defended James Jones strictly because of his drafting resume. Some of the guys that he's brought in, I thought he's done a pretty good job. Cam Johnson. I mean, even Jalen Smith, you look at that draft pick, it's not like it was a complete and utter reach. It just looks bad because Tyrese Halliburton went right after him. But Ryan Dunn's been a hit. Tumani Kamara's been a hit. The guy can draft. But because he has had a hand in this Suns season, he's got to be gone. Barlstein, sorry, this is no longer a family affair. I don't care who your dad is. You're gone. And one of the things I hate about the discourse around the Phoenix Suns is, calling for people's jobs. The hell do I care? I don't owe you anything. You make millions of dollars to figure out how to make these three stars work together, and it didn't happen. We talk about Bradley Beal, a guy who doesn't have a competitive bone in his body. I was one of the loudest advocates when Bradley Beal came to the Phoenix Suns. Shame on me. I was high on Bradley Beal. I'm a Florida Gators fan. I watched him there. I watched him with Washington. I had dreamed about Booker and Beal being together, and then I learned the guy doesn't have a competitive bone in his body. He was okay with just collecting his checks, and I believe he's been picking at the Phoenix Suns fan base ever since the trade rumors came out with Jimmy Butler. I think it's calculated. I think it's went from it's not his fault that he makes $50 million a year, which is obviously true, but it has gone straight towards, I'm just going to say the wrong thing specifically to piss people off. Bradley Beal, get him out of here. And it sounds like he's going to be gone. Whatever that looks like. Maybe they waive and stretch him. Maybe they just outright buy the guy out. I don't know. Those are things that could happen. A trade. Now, listen, you're going to give up probably all the assets you have in moving Bradley Beal. You're going to give up everything just to get rid of him, which is just a crazy, asinine thing to think about. But Bradley Beal's gone. And then Kevin Durant, we've talked about it for weeks on end now. He's gone too. But I don't want to act like Kevin Durant doesn't deserve some blame for the Suns season. It's the Suns' fault, but it also is Kevin Durant's fault, again, by association. Ishbia and everyone knew when they traded for Kevin Durant, he doesn't want to be a leader. And that obviously reared its head multiple times this season when the Suns needed a steady hand, a stone that they can hold on to during the storm of what was this Suns season. He wasn't there to do so. And a lot of that leans on Devin Booker too. I think Devin Booker never felt like he could actually check Kevin Durant and say, hey man, this team's falling apart. I need your help here. Now, kind of a small part of the blame, I don't list Kevin Durant in one of the top reasons why the Suns haven't figured it out this year, but everyone deserves blame, and his leadership does not get to go unpunished. Or I guess I should say, his lack thereof leadership. And then finally, a guy that I believe deserves a ton of blame. And I'd be going so much harder after Devin Booker for the disaster that is the Phoenix Suns season if and only if he didn't go up on the podium yesterday and say a lot of it was on him. And what I gotta say, and credit to Devin Booker, he went up to the podium and he faced the music last night. And he's going to have to do it again in a couple weeks here in Media Day. Hopefully he shows up to that. If you know the history, sometimes he doesn't like to show up to those things. But he's the captain of this ship. And just like how the captain of the ship of the Titanic went down with the ship, Devin Booker went down with the ship last night. So that is commendable. And I'll give that to Devin Booker. However, Devin Booker, the discourse around what I've seen, and it's just social media, and social media is not real life. Devin Booker deserves a large sum of blame for this Phoenix Suns season. Now, Budenholzer deserves a ton, Bradley Beal deserves a mountain-sized ton, and the front office does, and Barlstein does, and James Jones does. All those guys as well deserve blame for the Suns season. But one guy that I think is going largely unscathed across the Suns fan base and a little bit of Suns media is Devin Booker. I don't give a damn what you did for me in the past. I'm thankful for what you did. And Devin Booker is a star-studded guy here. And credit to him for taking a lot of the blame last night. That's why I don't want to go super hard on him. But what I don't want to do is let him go unscathed. For the people that blame the front office for the construction of this Suns roster. Yes, that is true. However, if you don't think Devin Booker and Kevin Durant played a large chunk of what the roster construction was going to look like, you're crazy. Star players, superstar players absolutely get a say in roster construction in the NBA. And if you are acting like that's not true just now because he's the golden boy, you are part of the problem. Devin Booker advocated for Kevin Durant. He actively recruited and advocated for Kevin Durant. Whatever, Kevin Durant's awesome. I'm not going to go after him for that. He actively recruited and advocated for Bradley Beal. They traded for Bradley Beal. He actively advocated for the departure of DeAndre Ayton. You don't think that didn't have a say? You don't think he had a say in the DeAndre Ayton trade? Of course he did. It's largely reported he advocated for him to be gone. And yes, that trade, obviously a bad trade in hindsight. What are you going to do? Devin Booker actively recruited Bradley Beal and advocated for the asset of Bradley Beal. He actively recruited and advocated for Tyus Jones. He actively advocated for the departure of DeAndre Ayton. He didn't want to deal with him anymore. And that trade, some of that is on him. So this idea that we're not going to go after Devin Booker, what are we doing? I don't want to beat the dead horse too much, but credit to him for going up last night and talking about some of his shortcomings this season. But this guy advocated and recruited Tyus Jones and Bradley Beal to this team. Both have been both of them have been abject failures and horrendous additions. You want to go all the way back to the DeAndre Ayton deal? He didn't want DeAndre Ayton here anymore. He played a hand in DeAndre Ayton's departure. And DeAndre Ayton, who had negative trade value, got traded to the Portland Trail Blazers, and it ended up not working out. In fact, it blew up in their face. Devin Booker had a down season. He shot in the low 30s of three-point percentage this year. Oftentimes, he was invisible. He was supposed to be Robin to KD's Batman. And oftentimes, he wasn't Matthew Dellavedova in games. So, although I have to give credit where it's due for Devin Booker going down with the ship last night, saying some of it was on him, that is accountability that this team needed, and credit to him, I'm not even largely lecturing him. I'm largely lecturing the media and the fan base who has apologized for what this season and team has been this year. He has played a hand in it. He is one of the problems of the Phoenix Suns this season. He has been largely, or I guess I should say, he has been more of a problem to the Phoenix Suns season than he has been the solution. That is just the harsh reality. So advocating for him to want to be traded or to, it was our fault, or acting like it was our fault that this Suns season went away, when I'm tripping over my words now. Or arguing like this Suns season was our fault? No. Devin Booker played a large hand in why this Suns season blew up in their faces. He acknowledged that, but what the rest of the fan base and media needs to recognize is to hold this dude accountable. You can still love someone and check them. I do it all the time. My wife does it to me. That is the sign of a healthy relationship. Not coddling a player because you feel like he needs to be coddled. That's soft. And honestly, I expect better from this fan base. So that pissed me off yesterday. And today, a little bit so.